Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in to Channel Maven Podcast. This week, I talked to the amazing Tina Gravel. If anyone knows her, you know what I'm talking about. So charismatic, so authentic, and such a social person when we're out and about. So we talk a lot about quarantine and what that means for those of us who travel, and that it's okay to not feel okay right now. Like there's a lot going on, and just doing the bare minimum to make things work and get by is okay, and that reaching out is a huge way to be able to come out of it. So thinking of all of you as we are in day I don't even know what of quarantine and this pandemic, and hoping you are all well. Thanks everyone so much for tuning in to this edition of Channel Maven Podcast. My name is Heather K. Margolis. I'm the chairperson and founder of Channel Maven and the CEO and founder of Spark Your Channel. And today I am joined by Tina Gravel, who's our SVP of Global Channels and Alliances at AppGate. Tina, thanks so much for being here.
Oh, hi, Heather. It's always a pleasure to see you, whether Zooming in
here,
or
right,
to converse with you either way. So
it's so great to see you. So tell us a little bit. We are in the midst of a pandemic. We are all in quarantine. Things are starting to open up a little bit, but I personally am still quarantining my family. I mean, we're getting food delivered from the grocery stores and being super, super careful about anything that comes in the home. How are you doing?
Yes, I have some high-risk people around me, so we have to be extra careful
Right.
about really quarantining, not just social distancing. And this has been going on for a while, since I got back from RSA, actually, and I found out that there had been some high risk or some contamination at RSA. And so, you know, this is a life now. It's the new normal, as they say. And
Right.
It's taking me a very long time to get used to it. I will tell you that it's only been the last month that I actually feel lightening up. I don't know how to, I don't even know how to explain it, but there was a darkness, there was a heaviness, there was almost, I don't want to say depression, but a very heavy weight, this fear of people dying, this fear of the livelihood, this no more travel.
Right. You are on the road a lot, and you're such a social being. I mean, you love seeing your people.
Yeah, it's interesting. When tested, I test as an introvert with social tendencies, something like that. Can't remember the exact way they define it.
An introverted extrovert is what I think.
You would know best. Yeah. And as it turns out, you know, my friends mean a lot to me, and they feed me, right? They give me my wings. But big groups I can't handle, and when I am in big groups, it takes a lot out of me. So I think that's the introverted side. But what I found is that because I've traveled for so long, for over nearly 30 years, I'm not used to living like normal people do.
Right.
You don't travel like that. I'm used to people carrying my bags, right? I'm used to people cleaning up after me. I'm used to people waiting on me.
Right.
It's been absolutely shocking. I mean, if you go back, my December, actually the whole year last year, we had family members with operations and cancer and deaths.
I remember that.
And then Things were happening at my previous employer that I don't need to go into, but I was very unhappy and in a funk. Fortunately, my previous boss went to AppGate and said, why don't you come with me? And not quite sure, what we're going to have you do yet. There's quite a lot you're capable of doing, and we'll work it out. And, I'll have to say at that point, my mojo was gone, completely gone.
Well, it's exhausting running in that situation where you're, you mentioned, you didn't want to say depression. I think there's a difference between depression and just being depressed, and not that there's anything wrong with depression. And I'm so proud of the people who can acknowledge that. And I have many of them in my family and in my life. But I think there's something to be said for being on that hamster wheel and saying, I just have to keep going. I just have to keep going. And then at some point you just can't keep going.
Right. Well, and then, get to the end of the year, to Christmas time. My fiance has a 14-year-old daughter, and usually Christmas is the most special time of year for me, but I really didn't feel like it. So it was, it seems to make things even worse, because then you have to, feel like you're forcing it. Yeah. And of course, then on Christmas Day, he proposes, and this is again supposed to be the most wonderful time. And I really didn't, I didn't feel it because I was already, pretty down. My self-worth is too tied up into what I do for a living. And this has always been the way it was. I haven't had hobbies. I've tried. I have really tried. I took up golf. I took up painting, flower designing, deep water kayaking, paddleboarding. You name it. I have tried. Okay. I really have. But I love my work, and I tend to be a person that goes all in. And so when work isn't going as well as it can, it taints everything. So then we get into the new year. I'm just getting started. I'm really starting to feel good about myself and my work again. Starting to get used to, things at the new company and positivity and all of that. Thing happens. And it hit me hard. Did. And I've crawled out of that because the company really needs me to. And of course, I was appointed this position, but my family needs me to. This is not something that we ever were prepared to do. They need me to cook, right? They need me to clean. I don't know how to clean and cook. I was never trained in this.
I was just saying.
My mother wasn't a homemaker, and I have had help just like you all my life. So, it's been very, very interesting. I have a really good friend that since I was a teenager that I met when I was 14, 15, and we're still friends, and I'll call her and I'll say, how do you get your clothes coming out of the laundry unwrinkled? Right.
I have found the secret is that you don't throw them in a basket and let them sit there for 3 days.
That's key. She also tells me that anything she wants to wear and not iron, she puts on delicate and cold water. She watches, yes. You don't wash the heck out of things, and you use less soap. I got the whole thing.
Those easy things. Instant Pot. Unfortunately, our Instant Pot's broken, so I think we need to find another one. Yeah. I know. But I want you to know, and I want anyone listening to know, that I have never experienced, I shouldn't say never. I have never out of context for no reason experienced depression. I've certainly gone through hard things where I'll say, okay, I'm super depressed right now, but it's circumstantial and I have good reason. I will say I have it very good. I have 2 adorable little kiddos who don't drive me that crazy.
And they're so cute. I could take a bite right out of them.
Cute. We have a live-in au pair, so we never had time without childcare. My business is busier, and yet I felt a funk or oh, we can't, my husband and I love eating out and love, like, we've become friends with the people who own the restaurants in the area and just concern for them. And
Yes.
yes, concern for family members. My grandmother, who's in final stages of depression or dementia, is positive and still asymptomatic. It's been 2.5 weeks.
Wow.
The woman, she's 94. This woman, she's not sick. She's tested positive for COVID-19 and not sick. And concern for her and concern for all of the people around her and other family members. And everyone is going, I saw the perfect quote. We are not all in the same boat, but we are all in the same storm.
Yes.
So
yes,
I think it's okay to not feel okay right now.
Yeah.
And it's okay to be able to talk about that.
Absolutely. And I agree with you. I try to get up in the morning now and say a little prayer and thank for you have, because I do feel very grateful, that I have a job, that we're actually busy, because work from home has been beneficial for us. The fact that Alan is doing well with his health, that Allie is in good, you know what I mean? We have a home that we can pay for, that we have, all these things that I'm very grateful for. It doesn't take away the experience that we feel, the heaviness, like we talked about. There was a time where all I could do is work. And then as soon as work was done, it was almost like the alarm went off at 5:30 p.m. and it was just like back to bed. I really did feel like that's all I could pull together. And it's not like that anymore. I have appointments. I can do a little bit of working out. And what I want to say, though, is that this has not been a self-improvement time for me. Okay. I see a lot of, on the gram of, this time for you, make this your time, come out of this thinner, come out of this, no.
Just surviving.
Exactly. And that's how it's been. This has not been a time for me where I'm learning a new skill, or I'm, learning a new language, or, I am fortunately now I'm really cooking from a work standpoint, and I'm starting to cook from the standpoint of taking care of everything I need to take care of. But as far as having extra time to learn a language, come on. And what that's doing, my heart goes out to people that see that say, what's wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with you, darling. There is nothing wrong with you. We all have our experiences, but I don't want them. And I also, my heart goes out to the businesses that are saying these things. They're only doing that to try to keep their exercise studio alive, or whatever it is they're doing.
I have so much respect for all of those businesses out there.
Me too.
And yet all of us need to be okay with just doing the bare minimum. My kids have watched more television in the last 2 months than I think they watched in the entire year before that. And my family has eaten, I was all no grain and no processed foods and this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, here, you want a bar? Like, here's the bar, just go. I don't have time. Or, trying to make something out of the freezer that's, frozen fish sticks and pizza, and the whole family's eating it, like not just the kids. So I think it's okay just being able to do the bare minimum and check in with people. Like, that's the big thing.
When you get off of these meetings, WebEx, Zoom, Teams, and article that says that these kinds of calls, because you're working really hard to see, what you're saying and what the reaction is and all of that, they can be very exhausting. So at 5 p.m. or 5:30, I didn't have the energy to call anybody.
Right.
I took a weekend and I said to Alan, why don't you go see your daughter, and I'm going to stay here for the weekend. And we're fortunate enough to have another place. And And I just spent the weekend doing whatever I pleased. And as it turns out, I cleaned the house. I put my press-on nails on. I colored my own hair.
Right.
And I saw something posted from a girlfriend, a Cloud Girls girl, and she had said something like, "Do you have time to talk?" And I was like, "I have time to talk, of course." So we FaceTimed, and it was glorious, and it was so much fun. So I've been doing more of that, and it makes a huge difference for me. And my best friend and I are talking more because we know we need it, and we both feel the same way. I've got like 3 best friends, and I sort of take it for granted that they're always there. And I can't.
Don't you feel like it's such a great way though? So we had Passover, you had Easter.
Yes.
We did Passover with my husband's family is amazing, and I'm very close with his mom and his sister, and he and his brother talk a lot. And the ability for all of us from New Jersey, Florida, Boston, and Boulder, Colorado, to all be on the same Zoom, and to have them see our kids running around and us to see their teenagers, being home. It just, awesome. we never would have done that if we could have been live. 2 groups would have gotten together, and the other 2 groups wouldn't have been together.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I think, the main message of all of this is that, what's in our heads is the worst possible thing. Just don't listen to yourself and do what you have to do, and try not to worry about what others think and what, because it's, likely not half as bad as what you're imagining.
And I might also add to that. So, I am the social advocate. I started talking about social media and social selling a decade ago when I started Channel Maven. I would say stay off social a little bit. Like, get on once, check through things, make sure everything's as it should be. LinkedIn is different. I don't think of that as the type of social we're talking about. But
LinkedIn and Twitter for me are more work oriented.
Business. The gram, as you call it, Insta, as I call it, and Facebook sometimes it's too much. Sometimes you just need to not miss people so much, or see all the deaths, or see all of the differing opinions. I mean, I'm friends with people on either side of the spectrum, either politically or whether or not they're quarantining. And it's hard sometimes to see.
That is hard. It's really hard right now. Really hard. I went to, my mom, my mother-in-law, everybody's gone, mothers. I have my 2 neighbors were like my 2 little mothers. After I lost my mom, one of them passed away. I went to see the other one yesterday to bring her a Mother's Day meal. And when I saw her come to the door, I just burst, out in tears. And I felt terrible because I didn't want her to feel badly. But all I could think of is, will she ever be able to go out again?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And
Mother's Day is hard too. I want to touch on that and acknowledge that Mother's Day really is. By the way, we're recording this the day after Mother's Day. It'll be live about a week from now. But I had a lot of trouble having my 2 healthy kids, and a lot of women out there still struggle and don't have healthy kids and don't have their moms, or had moms who weren't awesome, that's hard too. And then you
lose, and if you don't have your mom, it's very difficult. But I felt badly because I felt like, geez, I don't want to make her feel, terrible because I'm standing in front, crying. Well, come on, Tina.
Never feel bad for the tears.
But I talked to her. It's all good now. Yeah. So I feel as though I'm going into this spring or this summer, coming out of whatever it was, prepared for whatever life will bring us, a little bit better than how we came into it. And a couple of things I would suggest to people that have been very, very helpful to me, and I will tell you what they are. Eating properly, sleeping properly. It's just like the basics, right? All the things that, you learned when you were 5, right? I will never tell somebody not to have a glass of wine or 2 or even a half bottle if that helps you, especially right now. There's a lot of people that need to do that. They need that escape or whatever it is. But at some point, that won't serve you anymore. And you just have to be cognizant of that.
And know yourself, knowing
exactly.
if 1 glass leads to 7, then don't have a glass.
Exactly. Right. I don't care what it is. Sometimes for me, it's online shopping. It's I maybe don't even buy anything. I stick things in the cart and then I come back and I like a bath, a really hot bath. Sometimes that's like a martini to me, really is. By the time I get out, I've lost all the press-on nails, and but my mood is fine and I'm ready to sleep. My mind is not racing through what's going to happen, what, and then meditation. And for me, meditation might be 20 seconds or it might be 5 minutes. It's never 30. It's never, I'm not that kind of.
You do guided or you do it on your own?
Sometimes I use the app. I have Simply Being, and it's very helpful. I also worked with a doctor. I don't know if she's a doctor. I don't know what you would call her, as LSC, whatever. And she came up with a what they would call a rapid rewiring. And what that is it's a guided meditation that you listen to, which changes your subconscious. And I know that sounds really far out, but I believe that it works. And I listen to that before I go to sleep. And it's about 30 minutes. And I stopped for a while, and it's probably, and again, when you don't feel very well about things and you don't have the energy to do the things that are good for you, that's why you stop. But now that I'm back, all of these things build on one another to make you a whole person, right? The spiritual, the physical, the mental,
absolutely.
It's a balance.
And I would say working out. I hate working out.
Oh yeah, I do too.
But I do it every day.
I have not been doing much of a workout. I've been walking a lot. 7,000 steps. I'm not even up to 10 yet, but I'm getting there, and that's helping a lot. Not even worried about it, but I'll get there. I know I will. Yeah. But that does help.
Well, if you ever get a Peloton, tell me you can video chat on the Peloton.
You can?
Yeah, it's not, my girlfriends and I do it. I have the bike. I'm pointing because it's right here.
You know what? We've been talking about that, Alan and I, whether we should get one or not, and what should we do.
Let's chat offline. I will tell you. Okay. And I'll say to everyone, I don't know how much longer it's lasting, but Peloton has an app where you can do workouts, just either walking or running with body weight, what have you. They're giving it away for free for 30 days. And I can't remember when it started and when it finished, but check it out. They really are all the rage right now for obvious reasons.
Yeah. Well, I take their music. I take Soul Cycle music. I get on Sirius and I use that for my walking. So because anyway, well, this has been awesome.
Tina, thank you so much for your honesty and your being so authentic, always, always, always. But in this time where people just really need to hear that it's okay to not be okay and that they're not alone. Thanks for being here. We'll talk to you again soon.
I hope so. You take care. Take care of that adorable family. See you later.
I will.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.